Hey, Patrick Dooley here, Senior Product Manager for GitLab's Ecosystem Group, and this is our 13.3 Kickoff. I want to highlight some of the work we just did, talk about an integration that we've just expanded, and then we'll talk about the work that we're doing over the next month. So first, super excited. This has been a really exciting month. It's been a ton of work. This is my test project called Dooleyville. This is our existing Jira integration, right? When you add that, it adds a thing in the sidebar. It sends you over there. It also allows you to do notifications if activity happens. So you run a commit, you reference a Jira issue, it sends data over to Jira. We're also now able to go down to the Jira integration. We can also view issues in GitLab. If you click this, I take these credentials you've provided. I take a project key that you're pointing at. And inside of your project, you now see Jira issues, which still allows you to go navigate to Jira, but it also shows an issue list so I can remind myself to watch more George Clooney movies and bake quadrillions of cookies. And this is really cool because this is a good foundation for our ability to start pulling more data in from Jira inside of the GitLab UI. We can help keep developers in flow. If you're working inside of GitLab throughout your day, we can, and you have to use Jira for project management, we can keep some of that information in there. So that's really awesome. That's exciting. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got more things to add, which brings me to my first point for 13.3. We need to do solution validation. So let's take the work that is minimal, and we know it's minimal. Let's take that to some users. Let's talk to them, understand if they like where this is headed, what they want to see next, what confusion it may be causing, right? So this is Jira issues inside of what kind of looks to be a native GitLab interface, right? How can we improve this? How can we make this more clear? We also have some improvement to be done around the Jira GitLab for Jira Connect application. It's really basic today. And specifically, there's some kind of UX improvements. We'd like to add a dropdown for selecting namespaces to make it easier to configure. We found that's a really confusing point. We also have another related issue. If you watch, there's the error message that pops up is really vague. So when you type in your namespace, you hit link, it just says invalid namespace. Make sure you have sufficient permissions. Like, let's be clear. Let's add better user experience to that to make it more successful for people to install correctly. We also need to improve the listing page on the Atlassian Marketplace. So our design, tech writing, and product marketing team is going to work on improving this. Right now, it's really minimal listing. It doesn't tell you a lot. It doesn't make it explicitly clear who this is for and how to use it. So we need to improve that. And then we can move back to working on our instance level integrations as well. So we almost completed it in 13.2. We still had a couple of things on the UI left over. There's still lots to do in this initiative, but as far as getting the first iteration of this out, we need to complete the project level setting selector. So what that means is if you have instance level integrations enabled and you have a specific project that wants to override that, we need to be able to select use custom settings. So adding an option inside that integration that allows you to override what's at the instance level. So that's the first step towards overrides and being able to do more complex inheritance. And that needs to get done in the first iteration so that in a situation where a project does need a specific settings, which is going to be most of them for today, because we're not doing other more complex overrides, it's really just instance or project, right? Like you can have the parent settings, have whatever specific ones you want. So we need that to be able to ship it. So that is going to get done. And then we're also adding telemetry for instance level integrations. And the reason for this, and this is adding to the usage ping data that we already collect about other integrations. What we want to be able to see is how are people using this and who is migrating things over successfully from this. So if you have 300 integrations that are individual today, we want to be able to see if you're able to successfully migrate that to an instance level integration. That also gives us a really good insight as to which services we should start focusing on. Being able to see how people are using integrations is really key to how we prioritize, so it's important. On the foundation side, we are looking at finishing up deprecating Procfile. The reason for this, there is some work to be done on continuing that deprecation as we move to run it, so that we can start experimenting with Docker. So that deprecate profile issue is a blocker to be able to allow services to be run inside of Docker in the GDK. And the reason for that is we want to experiment with the GCK as well. That's one of the things that we have another team who's working on a project where you can run individual GitLab services, the part of the GitLab application, inside of Docker containers, which makes it more flexible and easier to maintain locally. But there's also this GDK project that we run, and we'd like to see if we can have those two work in harmony, but we can't play with it until we can actually allow services to be run inside of Docker. That's the first step to even experimenting with it. So we want to play with that. And then on the UX Foundation side of things, I have talked in the past about individual components that we're getting done. I really want to bring up, this is a proposal, this is not the final state, but for the product organization, there is a Q3 OKR that is being proposed to make GitLab faster than GitHub by migrating 8 of 38 components to full use pajamas. This is so cool. So this is a vote of importance from our product organization. Engineering and UX are getting on board. This is a really important push. I don't know what the final OKR is going to look like. I don't know what we're actually going to commit to, but it's really exciting to see support from the organization to start migrating to these new components. So we've identified in this proposal, they identified pagination, buttons, alerts, tooltips, tabs, dropdowns, modals, popovers, and icons. We want to swarm on this and get as many people as we can inside of our organization working on this. I know there are designers and managers, and even our VP of UX are personally migrating these things over. Let's get our engineering teams involved. We've also got, on the engineering side, there's a big push to get HAML templates moved. So this is really exciting to see such a big push of effort to get this stuff done. So if you have time, if you have an engineering team, if you are just interested in pajamas, please feel free to contribute. We would love to have your help. This is a huge effort, and it's going to take everybody to get it done. So with that is our 13.3. It's going to be the best release ever. We're super excited. I can't wait to see more things happening in Jira. I can't wait to see our instance level integration ship, and I'm super excited to see pajamas getting adopted by the organization. And that's it. Best release ever. I'll see you in 13.4.